The people that get to this show are sometimes the most dysfunctional you could ever find. Maury handles all types of people, but the list today features some of the most delusional people who left him speechless. From a guy blaming his women preference on the drink he consumes, to a father who spends hours on adult sites trying to spot his girlfriend. Here are delusional people that left Maury speechless.
They started to push, I just basically turned them off.
Number 5. Rosalind and Emmanuel. Rosalind warned her ex-boyfriend Emmanuel about being fertile one night when they got intimate. A few weeks later, she discovered that she was pregnant with her son. She delivered the news to Emmanuel, and he claimed he couldn't be the father because on the night the baby was conceived, he couldn't have slept with Rosalind. But will Maury's DNA test prove Emmanuel's hypothesis wrong? According to Emmanuel, when he drinks gin, he fools around with white women, and when he drinks brandy, he fools around with black women. He says that on the night of Rosalind's conception, it was on his birthday, and he recalls drinking gin. This rules out the possibility of him getting intimate with Rosalind and even making a baby. Rosalind believes Emmanuel has lost his mind, since his hypothesis as to why he isn't the baby's father sounds ridiculous. She even calls him out for drinking a bit too much that it led to blurry vision. She wants him to stop blaming it on the drink and step up to be a father. Rosalind claims that Emmanuel messed her up so bad that she swore to keep off men for good, so she found herself a woman. Even Maury attests that in all his years of handling paternity cases, he's never heard such a flimsy excuse like Emmanuel's. According to Rosalind, he warned him on the same night that they were getting intimate that she was fertile, yet he never liked to use protection. Since she was sure about the outcome, she requested money for the morning after pill, but he claimed to have his half of the money and expect Rosalind to chip in the rest. However, her funds were tight, so she couldn't afford it. When Maury brings up a photo of Emmanuel side by side with his alleged son, even the audience agrees that they do resemble each other. Rosalind reveals that Emmanuel has been absent the entire 9 months she was pregnant and even never bothered to visit her after giving birth. She had to take the baby to his house instead. It's been 2 years with Emmanuel out of the picture and only recently tried to patch his relationship with him, but still, he has some conditions. When Emmanuel got to the stage, he stuck to his ridiculous belief, but also had more sauce to spill. Rosalind had been messing around with one of his friends. This meant the results were going to be 50-50, so when Maury was about to read the results, the whole room got tense. It turns out Emmanuel was 100% the father of Rosalind's son.
At just 10 years old, the twins' entire world fell apart when their older brother...
Number 4. Aaron and Holly. Aaron and Holly came to the show with a bang. Holly claimed she and Aaron had been very passionate when they first started dating, and even claimed to have been making love at least 40 times within 5 days. This led to some dehydration complications that led Holly to the hospital. It was during this time that she discovered she was pregnant with her daughter Zeta. Despite Aaron choosing to stick by Holly's side, he had some doubts about being the little girl's biological father. He hadn't known Holly for long, and after she started growing up, he suspected Zeta's father was either Black American or Caucasian. On the show, Holly admits that at first Aaron was a sweet guy, but recently things haven't been going well for the two of them. He constantly accuses her of cheating on him, yet he goes 2 to 3 days without communicating with his wife. Holly just wants their marriage to work out and to prove that she isn't creeping behind Aaron's back. When asked about the cheating allegations, Aaron claims that Holly had been with other men before being with him. She accepted that indeed she was, and even had to date back to her conception to be sure of whom she'd slept with before getting baby Zeta. Holly tried convincing the audience that her daughter looked like Aaron's sister when she was young, but he had to point out the skin tone and the dark brown hair. When he came to the stage, he was more than certain that baby Zeta wasn't his. He even mentioned that Molly's previous boyfriend was Hispanic. All Holly wanted was her family to be one. Maury tries to calm them both before revealing that Holly took a lie detector test. Finally, Aaron was going to know the truth. Is Holly cheating on him with other men? Is Zeta his daughter? When Maury revealed the results for the lie detector, it turns out Holly wasn't lying. The DNA results for Zeta left the whole room shocked, as it turns out Aaron wasn't the father. Holly, who felt embarrassed, walked out of the stage, but Aaron followed right behind her to comfort her. Maury tried to console Aaron by telling him Holly really loved him, and as her husband, he may need to step in as a father figure for Zeta. Honestly, I didn't see that coming.
Okay, this is my dining room. Not supposed to be, but as you can see, it's my dining room, my living room, my kitchen, and everything. We have mice.
Number 3. Brittany and Moses. When Brittany gave birth to her little girl, her then boyfriend Moses decided they named her a miracle. However, immediately after her birth, Moses decided to play hide and seek with Brittany after lying to her, saying that he was going to pass by the hospital later on to sign the birth certificate. This turned to a couple of hours, then it turned into days, before turning into weeks. Brittany remembers how heartbreaking the day was for her, since Moses had promised to return and spend the night with her, only to be rewarded with unanswered calls and messages. He then claimed that he'd already talked to the nurse, which turned out to be a lie. He then bluntly denied the little girl, claiming the child wasn't his and Brittany had been messing around with other men. Maury is shocked that Moses never made an effort to check up on his daughter, and now, at 2 years old, Brittany can count at least 2 or 3 times where he's met her. Brittany says Moses used to call on the phone, but his intentions were always different. She'd receive calls at 1 a.m. when her baby was sound asleep, meaning he had other motives of getting back with her and not for their child. Funny thing, these two were introduced to each other by Brittany's former best friend named Alicia, who turns out to be Moses' sister. Brittany claims that when she confronted her about Moses' behavior, Alicia decided to not get involved, claiming they were both adults and could handle their own business. Maury also feels that this was a bad step for a friend, since she was the only one who linked them up in the first place. Brittany opens up about the passing of her first baby daddy and explains how Moses was comforting during the entire time, which drew them closer to each other. She's hurt that he's denied a miracle, even after seeing the physical resemblance. What's worse is that Moses hasn't dared spend any money caring for their daughter, and Maury's DNA test is the only thing that could get Moses to step up. When asked why she didn't agree to DNA tests when the baby was just 3 months old, Brittany explained she didn't have all the money in the world and wouldn't have refused if Moses was the one paying for it.
It's your baby. You need to man up and take care of your baby. You gotta prove to me things.
Number 2. Jalisa and Stan. When Stan was 19, he found out that the man he knew as his father wasn't his biological father. That revelation affected him so much that he developed trust issues with his partner Jalisa. Jalisa, however, feels like it's just a flimsy excuse to be less of a father to his kids, and he needs to man up and take responsibility. Jalisa wants stability and her own family, and she can't keep proving to him that she's loyal, as this isn't the first paternity test he's making her take. Stan has denied Jalisa's 6-week-old baby, but Jalisa feels he needs to do better. Luckily, Stan's sister Rachel is on Jalisa's side and has been supportive of her, even helping with the baby shower, among other things. Stan claims that Rachel is playing both sides and is the one who advised him to do the paternity test, but she adamantly denied the claims and even told the TLC producers that she wouldn't just support her brother because he was family, but instead she would do what was right. Stan believes the baby isn't his because when he got to the stage, he explained to Maury that he was on vacation when Jalisa revealed she was pregnant. He even claims that there's no resemblance with the baby when even the audience could see it. He insists that Jalisa has been talking to other men and couldn't be more sure about it, despite her taking a lie detector test and proving she wasn't. Jalisa's ultimatum? Once they did the paternity test and it turned out he was the father, she wanted a ring on it. Before the results were read by Maury, the three waited anxiously as they placed their seats to face each other. It turns out Stan was the father of Jalisa's son. The whole moment was emotional and unexpected. Jalisa was shocked to see Stan on one knee, putting a ring on it. Let's not ignore how he threw a stack on the floor to kneel on it. YouTube comments were full of trolling at that moment and Stan's ridiculous hair.
He thinks you're embarrassing her by bringing her here.
She's embarrassed herself.
No, you embarrassed yourself for thinking
Why
these
is she
things.
embarrassing herself?
Because she's lying.
Number 1. Ashleigh and Tony. Ashleigh is at her wit's end. Tony, her boyfriend, called the show since he believes she's a serial cheater and that he's not the father of their paternal twin daughters, Olivia and Avea. In a snippet, Tony says he refuses to let Ashleigh play him for a fool. There's no way the twins are his, as he's tried to see the resemblance for 13 months and still got nothing. According to Tony, from the time Ashleigh got pregnant, he caught her on video chat with another man in the room and she tried to lie about it. Then a week later, Tony claims to have seen her starring in her own adult film. When Maury asked if she acts in adult films, Ashleigh sarcastically says yes, before explaining she would never do such a thing because Tony is the party boy and even called him the cheater. Tony tries to bring her down by calling her a crybaby. Ashleigh reveals that Tony has put his partying before his family and the audience is disgusted by this guy and even wondered what this beautiful woman is doing with him. Tony spends hours on adult sites watching videos hoping to bust his wife. If that doesn't scream psycho, I don't know what will. Ashleigh has reached the end of the line because she simply had enough and wants the truth to come out, since she's unsure if she's ready to put up with Tony's insecurity. According to Tony, Ashleigh never wanted to come on the show, but she explains that she was embarrassed and didn't want to go through with it. Tony kept on going, even claimed the girls had blue eyes, yet they both had brown eyes. Just to end the anxiety that was brewing between the two, Maury read the DNA DNA results which proved that Tony was the father of the twins. He proceeds to read the results from the lie detector test, which also proved Ashleigh was telling the truth and wasn't involved with other men during the time they were together. The heartfelt moment was when she started breaking down while Tony just stood there, not even lowering his pride to apologize to this girl. It was after Maury called him out that he got to his knees to say sorry. If you were in Ashleigh's shoes, would you take Tony back?